Hello YouTube, Tommy Retro here again. I talked a little bit about this in my previous videos. I was putting together a deal on an S series and I have great news. I picked up the S series. This is a 1986 Carpenter. It's got the International S series chassis. This is actually a rebody. It's got a 1999 Carpenter body on it. It's an S1853 to be exact. It's got the DT466 engine in it. Got the hood in there. But what I wanted to do, I'm going to do another video in the future about a full walk around and kind of look at everything. But just wanted to do a video on the actual acquisition of the bus. So we'll go ahead and get in the bus here. It is spring in northern Illinois, but it still feels like winter. So we'll get on the bus here. And let me see. I'm going to position the camera right here on the dash so that it's looking at me there. And I will talk to you guys from the driver's seat. But I want to tell you the story a little bit about this bus and the pickup and the acquisition. So here's the story. In McHenry, which is just a couple towns away from me, there's a daycare center, and I was driving down the street one day and I saw this bus. And I'm like, I take a glance at it, and I'm like, hey, that looks like an S series. I wasn't sure if it was a bus or a truck or whatever. So I go back in this industrial park where this daycare center is, and lo and behold, it's this bus. This bus is sitting in the parking lot. Got these big, deep divots in the asphalt. Where it had been sitting, and the plates were expired in 14. It's currently 2018, so I knew, okay, so this bus has been sitting, hasn't been used for 4 years. So I went in, asked the the people at the counter if they knew anything about the bus, and they set me up with some contact information through an email. So emailed them, and eventually talked on the phone, inquired about the bus, if it would be available, and they said that they were willing to sell the bus. And so I told them, well, yeah, I'd like to come over, take a look at it, and then I'll make you an offer. So I went over there. Again, right now it's the end of March 2018. Went over there, probably had to be January, February, and it was cold. But brought a battery over there just to see if I could start the bus, and went over there. It had to be probably that day, had to be in the 20s. It was cold. I went over there about lunchtime, plugged the bus in, and let it warm up for probably about 4 hours. But by the time I got back, 4 or 5 hours. So I had it plugged in, came back, installed the batteries. I'll show you a clip right now of that, but installed the batteries and didn't prime the fuel system, anything like that, but basically installed the batteries, got in it and turned the key, and now I'm going to show you a clip of that process. So first clip will be the walk around, and just kind of inspection, first walk around, and then with the battery in, and then the first cold start in 4 years. So I'm going to go ahead and play that clip for you, and then I will be back after that. Tommy Retro here on location. We've just located a potential bus for us. So we're doing a check around here. I got Jimmy with me today, and we just did the initial check of the fluids,
The oil's looking a little green, kind of concerning. Not really sure if there's just some diesel in it or what, but you know, we'll see if it gets milky when it's running. What we're going to do is we're going to change out the batteries. Batteries are old. This bus hasn't been started in at least 4 years. You can see they're all corroded. So we're gonna change the batteries. This looks like it's a Carpenter bus. It's a S1800. Got the DT 466 in it. So it's got the emblem there. You can see that. It's kind of cool. But here she is. Like I say, we just did our initial checks, and look at date of manufacture. There is May 21st, 1986. So we've got a 1986 Carpenter. So Jimmy and I are going to do some work to it. We're going to get the batteries changed out, get it primed up, see if we can get it to run. Alright, so this is our first attempt. Hasn't been started in 4 years. 1986 International S1800. Go full throttle. She's coming alive. Doesn't want to idle yet. Not bad for sitting for 4 years. Alright, she's running. Here's our gauges. Doesn't want to idle just yet. We lost our brake pressure warning, so that means we got pressure built up for the brakes. And we have pedal. That's good. Voltmeter doesn't work. Yeah, he needs a little help, Jim. Alright, let's kind of do a walk around. Okay. Oh yeah, alright, I'll be right there. Alright, well it's running. A little walk around. Marker lights out.
So that was a clip of the walk around and the first cold start. The DT466 roared to life after 4 years of sitting, no problem, no priming, anything like that. One thing I did notice is the brakes were gone, no pedal at all, several leaks. So what I did was just kind of made note of what I'd have to do to get it out of there. The engine ran, the transmission, I put it in gear. I could tug on it. I knew it would move, at least forward and backward. So I had that information. Next day I called them, made them an offer on the bus, and they said they'd think about it. They called me back in a couple days and said they'd take my offer, and basically we shook on it. I told them that when the weather warmed up, I'd come over, I'd put new brake lines on it, and get it out of there, and we'd do the deal. So that's exactly what happened. Waited for warmer weather. So in March, came back, put a total of 3 lines on. I'll show you a little clip right after this. It's kind of a late night after Earl and I spent the afternoon putting brake lines on. Just a little clip of what we did. And then I believe I have another clip too as well of the rear brake line repair, or at least what needed to be done. So total of 3 lines. It was the 2 main lines from the master cylinder that goes down to the frame. So those were replaced, and also a brake line on the rear axle. So once we had that, the lines held. One of the things I could not get operable was the parking brake, which I really would have liked to have had for the trip home, just in case. I know it's a dual reservoir master cylinder, but it's just nice to have that little extra brake if you need it. So I'll have to get some new pads for that, some new shoes. I think somebody probably drove with the brake on and burned the lining off. But I couldn't adjust out of it enough to stop the bus or to keep it in park, so that right now it does not work properly. But it's just the pad that's worn down. So I'm going to play a clip now of the brake line inspection, and then immediately following that is going to be a clip of the first run. So basically what happened is I got the brake lines done, and then I backed the bus out onto the little road there in the industrial park, and I tested it out just to make sure it was roadworthy for the trip home. And so we got some video footage. Henry was helping me that day, so he's got some video footage of me driving the bus, and that's the Maiden Voyage, just cruising up and down the street, checking the brakes, making sure that everything is okay, and roadworthy to drive home. So I'll go ahead and roll a clip of that, and then I will come back and we'll finish up. Okay, it's Saturday evening, just got dark. Earl and I spent the afternoon, well, probably since about 2 o'clock. Right now it's probably about 8, working on the bus. Here's what we did today. So we started chasing down the brake lines. Right out of the box we had lines leaking. You see where Earl's pointing there. There was 2 lines coming out of the frame. They come off of the master cylinder, so it's your 2 main brake lines, front and back, that go into a block that's built into the frame. And so we replace those 2 lines. You can see them there, and then they come up and they terminate into these hoses here, and then the hoses go up to the proportioning valve and then the master cylinder. So replace those. We've got those leaks stopped. So we've got good pressure there. Once we got those fixed, we blew a line on the back, and so that's our next thing. So we're going to measure that up and get a line for that, and we'll come back another day and work on that. So I'll kind of show you what's going on underneath here. We'll go under the skirt here. Show you. So if you can see that, the line there that follows
the axle. So right behind that shock is the block that splits the rear brake line, and it goes left and right. So from the block up and over, and right there where it 90s and goes into, changes over to a hose, that's where it's leaking. So I'm going to measure that up, and we're going to replace that next time. Check it out. If the brakes hold, we can get this thing moving, and make sure the park and brake works, and make sure the brakes work and drivable to bring it home. So we'll catch you in a little bit.
10-4.
Okay, so you just saw the clips of the initial testing and test driving around, make sure it was roadworthy to come home, and it did great. You know, the bus ran well, stopped well, and I drove it home, so to where it's parked right now. And my plans now is just to get that get that parking brake fixed. I've got some lighting stuff to go through, make sure it's operational, and then plan the restoration. So we've got the two vintage buses, I'm going to call them. We've got this one, the 86 International S1800, and then we've got the 84 Chevy B6P bus with the Thomas body. And the plan with these buses are to restore them to their original school bus appearance, and the goal is to get these ready to take to the vintage bus show. They actually call it Bus Day at the Illinois Railway Museum this fall in 2018. So the goal is to have at least one bus ready. I'm going to try for both of them, but I'd like to definitely make an appearance up there. Right now I'm planning on doing the 84 first, just because I had that one first and I want to get going on that. But definitely would like to get them both done. But that's the plan. So as time allows, I'm going to do a cosmetic restoration on both buses, and go through, of course, brake lines, mechanicals, and all that, and make sure everything's in good shape. But I will do another video where we kind of examine everything about this bus. We'll pop the hood, we'll look at that, we'll look at the transmission, we'll walk around, we'll do kind of a detailed analysis. That'll be another video, but I wanted to make this video just solely about the acquisition. Part of the fun of collecting and doing stuff like this is the thrill of the hunt. And it was cool. It was great to deal with those people, really friendly. Couldn't say nice enough things about them. So just goes to show, if you see something, ask about it. You never know until you ask. The worst thing they can say is no. And I'm glad I asked about this. And again, being Northern Illinois, it's extremely rare to find something like this, an S series in what I call in the wild, still. You just never know what you're going to find. So I thank you for watching my videos, and there's a lot more to come. We'll be doing a lot of different things with the buses, in the spring here and the summer. And again, the goal is to get at least one ready, hopefully two, to go to the bus day celebration over at the Illinois Railway Museum, and that is in Union, Illinois. And they also have another event up there called the Vintage Transport Extravaganza, which is held in August. Bus day is in October. It's like October 1st, something like that, super end of September. And then the Vintage Transport Extravaganza is in August. And if I have one ready for that, then I would definitely be bringing one up there too. But that's the plan. We're going to have some fun with this. I hope you enjoy the video, and please continue to watch. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I thank you for watching. Take care.